The parasha this week begins with the words, Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe, and Hashem speaks to Moshe, Acharei mot shnei bnei Aaron, after the deaths of the son of Aaron. Bekorvatam lifnei Adonai v'yamutu, when they came close to Hashem, and they died. It's interesting wording here, because if you remember the story actually that happens in Parashat Shemini, it's not the same words that are used. Rather, if you look in Parashat Shemini, in Perek Yud, where the story happens, it says, Vayikhu v'nei Aaron, and the sons of Aaron took Nadav and Avihu, ish machtato, v'itnu v'hen esh, v'yasimu alea ketoret. They took their fire pans, they put fire in them, and they offered the incense offering. ויקריבו לפני אדוני אש זרה אשר לא ציווה אותם. And they offered to HaKadosh Baruch Hu a foreign service, a foreign fire that he had not commanded them. ותצא אש מלפני אדוני, and fire came out from before Hashem, ותאכל אותם, and it consumed them, וימותו לפני אדוני, and they died before Hashem. The story of Nadav and Avihu, which we are now in Parashat HaChemot, and then Kedushim, we're saying now was after that story. The after effect of that story, the aftermath, that's what we're in right now. This story really happened a little bit before. And the wording of this week's parasha is different than last week's. Here it just says they died when they came close to Hashem. And there, they died when they came close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because they offered a fire which was foreign. What made it foreign? What made it zara? Zara, because Hashem lo tziva otam, did not command them to do things that we are not commanded to do. The famous Gemara, Masechet Yerushalmi, says, "Kol hapatur midavar ve'osehu nikra hediot." Anyone who's exempt from something and still does it is considered a fool. Hediot, an ignoramus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want you to do it, so why are you doing it? We're seeing this problem right now in Am Yisrael. There are things the Jewish people are risking their life to do. Why? Because they decided it's important. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said it was important? Not really. But they know better. And in Am Yisrael, we always have these Jews that know better than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I'm not here today to speak at all about Nadav and Avihu, rather to give chizuk to our Kehillat here and abroad. We're used to this story. What do? We learn Torah. We follow Halakha to the best of our abilities. We study the words of the Mishnah and the Talmud and the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch. We remain loyal to the Torah that was given to us by Am Yisrael, Chachamim, generation after generation after generation. And very often, and more often than not, we find ourselves in some kind of situation, like in Tuesday night shiur, where Rabbi Yechia Salach says, he says, us, just the simple rabbis, we're just simple rabbis. What do? We just study simple halakha. We study simple Torah. Simple Torah, Gemara, Shas, simple scheme. The simple ones. We don't float on magic carpets. We're not involved in all kinds of other practices. We try our best to fulfill Torah, Tziva, Nanu, Moshe, Morasha, Kehillat Yaakov. This is the Torah that Moshe gave us. It was an inheritance to Am Yisrael through the people of Yaakov. The Rashit Chokhmah, Yirat Adonai, the beginning of wisdom, is knowing, fearing, awe of Hashem. We try, that's what we strive for. Yet we find ourselves in a Jewish community that has an attitude. What's the attitude? Those who follow Shulchan Aruch, those who follow Maran, those people are considered controversial. And those people who don't follow halakha, and those people who follow extra halakha, extra not meaning more, better, extra meaning not commanded by HaKadosh Baruch Hu or Moshe Rabbeinu or the Chachamim, those people are considered mainstream. To the point where you can have a bull in Amharic, an ignoramus, a bull in English also, who because they do something which HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't even command them in the first place, they think they're better than Talmidei Chachamim, who are doing everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded. But, as I've been saying in the last few weeks, Mashaya, Hu Shiyeh, what was is what will be. There's nothing new under the sun, Shlomo HaMelech tells us. And I was reading a book that I told you I'd be quoting more often. The Keter Shem Tov. Rabbi Shem Tov Gagin was a rabbi in England and codified perhaps the greatest book of minhagim of the communities. It started as a minhagim of the Sephardic communities, but if you want to learn about Ashkenazi communities, the Yemenite communities, it's all found here as well. And he has a very interesting piece. He says, "Bihiyot sheharama b'shulchan aruch nitkabel b'chol shderot Yisrael machmir." Because the Rama and the Shulchan Aruch has been accepted in all streams of Judaism as the strict one. Bifrat, bisur v'eter, v'dinei shchita u'trefot. So especially when it comes to laws of kashrut, people think that the Rama and for those who follow that line of thinking are more strict than Maran. V'zeh darko b'kodesh lomar, and it's his holy way of saying, and anachnu b'ki'im b'bdika, we don't know how to check these lungs, and therefore we can't. V'yesh lachmir, we should be strict, or yesh la'atrif, and we should prohibit this. V'chen nohagim v'en leshanot, the Rama always says, that's our custom, we don't change our custom. Mipnei zeh, because of this, bati latet lifnei hakorim eze piskei halachot matmihot. I came to present before the reader some surprising piskei halacha. Shemaran Abet Yosef hichmir b'chol tokef, then Maran rules in them stringently, in unflexibly stringent. Ki lo ratza lazuz midin hagemara v'gdolei poskim, because Maran did not want to budge one iota from the laws of the Talmud and from the greatest of the poskim. Uva harama, and the Rama comes v'hekel behem, and he was lenient in those things. V'lo chat mipnei kol, and he was not afraid of anyone. Lismoch al minhagim shonim, to rely on all kinds of strange customs. Af al pi sheberubam hem neged shitat Talmud, even though the majority of them directly violate the law of the Talmud. So people think Maran is so lenient, especially in kashrut, and Rama and those who follow him are so strict. But really, he says, I have to change this reality. This misconception that's in people's minds is incorrect. And therefore, he decided to go through Shulchan Aruch and pick out all the places he could find where Maran is strict and following the laws of the Talmud. It's not really stringency, that's the law. And the Rama comes along, and because of different minhagim that exist, is lenient not just against Maran, but against the actual law that was established by the Talmud. I can't read them all to you, it's pages. But he goes a list of Shulchan Aruch L'Chaim, Shulchan Aruch Yoreh De'ah, Shulchan Aruch Even HaEzer, Shulchan Aruch Chosh HaMishpat, and so on and so forth. He goes through every section of halakha. And it says at the end of all this, Ata horet al adat, I have proven to you, ki lechinam nitkabel harama lemachmir be'enei hamon ha'am, that for nothing, for no reason, has Rama been accepted by the people in the street, hamon ha'am, as the strict one. Ela adraba, but to the contrary, hochachnu hakorim me'eze dugmaot asher lakatati achat hena ve'achat hena. I've proven to you, reader, from just some examples that I've collected, some from here and some from there. Shemagamato hayta limtso heter. The Rama was trying to be lenient, and he explains, not to attack the Rama, but he was dealing with a less than ideal state of Jewry, in which these Jews simply were unable to follow the laws of the Talmud properly, and because of that, he quotes a famous Maritz Chiyot. They call him Maritz Chayes. He's a special Chacham, one of my favorite Ashkenazi Chachamim. If you look up his works, his book is called ציון, leniency. He named the book after, if I'm not mistaken, his mother. One of the only books I could think where someone named it after their mother. And really, it's nefesh chaya is right. It really revives your soul. He gives a few examples why he's trying to justify the Rama. They worked with goyim that didn't allow them to work in certain trades. And Rabbi Shem Tov says, listen, that makes sense in areas where it has to do with the goyim around them. But what about other areas? The bottom line is that in Am Yisrael, you always had Jews who followed halakha, and Jews who tried to offer an esh zara, a foreign fire. And I didn't come today to stick my head and say that all of the Jews that are doing what they do are offering a foreign fire, chaz v'shalom. I didn't say that. But at the very least, the respect that they could have to those of you who do follow halakha, who do follow Maran, who do follow Piskei HaTalmud, the rulings of the Talmud that were established by national courts of Am Yisrael. At the very least, they shouldn't have the azut metzach, the chutzpah, the audacity to consider those who walk on the clear path of Torah mitzvot. They shouldn't consider them incorrect. They shouldn't consider them not mainstream. I don't even know what the word means. A little bit of respect towards those who are upholding the living tradition of Chachamei Israel. And then I'd be quiet. But why does it have to be that the way the world is, that those who follow halakha hide b'machteret, literally underground? There's a famous piece, there's a book written by, I don't know, I believe his name was Rabbi Moshe Leventhal. I have this here somewhere. Where he quotes from Rav Lau, the father of the chief rabbi now. He said that when he was studying Yeshivat Ponevezh, that he had to study Shulchan Aruch. He said, when he was studying halakha, b'machteret, underground. He said, not math, not science, not philosophy. Halakha, he had to study underground. And for years, I was skeptical. Not the Chazal, I thought he was lying. It sounds very extreme. And once I was speaking with the Rav Peretz, and the Rav Peretz told me, yeah, I remember that when I was learning Shulchan Aruch and Ponevezh, they asked me not to study in the Beit Midrash. I had to leave. I had to find the Beit Midrash, which I was allowed to study Shulchan Aruch. Lo yuman ki supa. Until when will it be like this? It's up to us to reverse the tide. And not to fight, and not to scream, and not to yell, but to stop having an inferiority complex. To remember those who are offering the foreign fire, they have what to apologize for. But those who are upholding the fire of Am Yisrael, the fire of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Esh, the fire of the Torah, you have nothing to apologize for. You're doing everything like what HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded. And if I can echo the blessing of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that if you follow all the laws and the mitzvot of the Torah, Hashem promises, Kol hamachala asher samti b'Mitzrayim lo asim alecha ki ani Adonai rofecha, that all the disease that I placed on Mitzrayim, I will not place on those who follow my Torah, because I am Hashem your healer. The blessing of healing, the blessing of refuah for us, for the whole world, for all of Israel, for every person on this earth. Everyone should have a refuah shlema. Everyone should be safe. Everyone should be healthy. And to remember, uphold the fire of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kihem chayenu v'orich yamenu. This is the reason why we live. Etz chaim hi lamachazikim ba. It was a tree of life for anyone who holds on to the Torah. So don't hold on to the velvet, and don't hold on to the silver, and don't hold on to everything around the Torah. Grab onto the Torah and say, this is my Torah. This is the clear path that was given to our fathers and our grandfathers and our mothers and our grandmothers and our chachamim and their chachamim. Ad sof kol adorot, we're going to continue on this path. Al tira v'al techat. Ki imcha Adonai Elohecha b'chol asher telech. Have no fear, have no concern, because Hashem your God is with you wherever you go. Shabbat shalom u'vorach.